most people don't care about their health until it's gone. And that's a fact, right? Like tons of guys that are probably in this group are building their businesses and, attempting to get ahead and put that 10, 15, 20, 30, $50 million in the bank. And they don't take care of their physical body. And then they come to people like me, after they sold their company for 60 to 100 million and say, hey man, I want you to give me a plan for 90 days. And I'm like, I literally laugh in their face and they've already paid me a lot of money. And I'm like, that ain't going to happen, dude. It took you how many years to become a metabolic emergency? 1 foot in the grave, MFer, right? So like you need to change your perspective because like you got to get back to square one and it starts with like a plan. But the truth is like, you got to get your blood work done. I talk to young guys and women, all across the world now about this, and you should start doing this at 18 years old. There's no reason that you can't. If you live in Canada or the United States or most, Western civilization countries, you can go online and you can go to private MD labs or discounted labs or direct labs or any of these places. And you can just get an overall male hormone and wellness panel. Private MD Labs is a company that I work with, and they've built an actual lab markup from basic, again, depending on a guy's economics, and this is women too, but basic, intermediate, advanced. And now I actually even have an elite panel if you want to spend $2,000 and really understand what's going on under the hood. But like, that's step one, because if you don't know what's going on internally, you can't be proactive and take steps to change and fix what might be an underlying problem. So, most people complain and they're like, yeah, but if I get my lab work, then what? I don't know how to read it. And I always tell people, I'm like, you can go on YouTube, you can go on my website. I mean, there's a million different people, I don't want to just say it's me, but it's pretty simple to understand your biomarkers. There's very complete tutorials, videos, courses, not even courses, just videos showing, there's probably hundreds of mine online that you could find and stuff like that, but it's not hard. And then once you understand that, you understand what you're working with. And again, Ted, very, very honestly, the average man in the United States right now has a testosterone deficiency. And that is because the environment is contaminated, the food is contaminated, the air is contaminated, the water is contaminated, the blue light that you and I are both with right now, which by the way, why don't you have your blue light glasses on? Yeah, go get them on. We're all being annihilated at all times. Like I call it a full spectrum assault from modernization. And modernization, while it's good, it's allowing me and you, and you're in Charlotte and I'm in Tampa, Florida, to have this amazing conversation right now and bridging it. At the same time, if we don't take proactive steps, like with these, there's things you can do to your house, to transmute a lot of the EMF and transmute a lot of the Wi-Fi and the 5G and all that stuff. But the bottom line is all of it leads to a desecrated endocrine system. And when your endocrine system is not functioning well, you get sick. And, I tell people this and they don't understand this, but like, and again, allopathic medicine doesn't teach this, but, and remember what Chris Rock said, he's like, there's no money in the cure, the money's in the medicine. So they're not incentivized to heal you. They don't want to treat the fundamental root cause. They want to give you pills to band-aid the symptoms so that you stay hooked to their medications. But the truth is like, once you understand what you're working with from a biological biomarker symptom standpoint or biomarker measurement standpoint, then you can take proactive steps to cure it. And getting back to testosterone and getting back to hormones, like that is the crux of the matter. Most men and women right now are walking around in the United States with a hormonal deficiency. And as soon as you have a hormonal deficiency, everything else eventually breaks down. You're going to gain fat, your metabolism slows, your thyroid output stops. You put on, you become inflamed. It leads to type 2 diabetes and all these other diseases. But, I always tell people that like at the end of the day, the best way to live longer and stronger is by remaining lean. And that's statistically proven, scientifically proven. All the studies show that the leaner a person is as they age, the longer they will live from a physical life standpoint. Now, obviously, the debate is qualitative versus quantitative, right? Do you want to live 95 years and bent over in the spine, or do you want to live, into your 80s and 90s and 100s and being robust and jacked and, have a lot of muscle, pick up your grandkids, that kind of stuff, right? So it's a choice that we all have to make, but I can assure you that if you don't do this and you don't find out whether or not you're working with a hormone deficiency and then take steps to remediate it, you're going to be fat, inflamed, sick, and depressed by the time you're 50. Like that is inevitable. I mean, again, bro, I say this all the time, like go into any public airport in the United States and look around. And 70% of people are inflamed, obese, and metabolically emergencies. And when you're like that, and this is what people don't understand, and I have a very, like I said, a really good understanding of like what's going on biologically to people. When you're like that, bro, your default state is pain. So you don't have health. And so when you don't know what it's like to actually feel like you and I do every single day when you wake up in the morning, it's pretty difficult to be joyful, blessed, abundant, prosperous in your mindset because you literally suffer 24/7. And so like, that's what I'm saying is like the majority of people in America today, and this is really sad, but their default state is suffering. They don't have any idea what it feels like to not suffer. And again, when you're fat, so you can understand this, and a lot of people again don't understand this, you are having a cytokine storm at all levels of your body 24/7. Because all that visceral fat is causing suffering through cytokine storms, which are presenting as pain to your physiology. So you never feel good